Today I want to talk about Nightwing. He's one of my favorites and he's been terrorized by the bald Tom Taylor for a long time. But now we've got a new creative team on the book, which is Dan Waters and Dexter Soy. Dexter Soy, magnificent on pencils. His art looks amazing. I love the way he draws Nightwing and Bloodhaven. Everything looks great. But sadly, things have not really gone too well story-wise for Nightwing. As far as jumping from Tom Taylor to Dan Waters hasn't been much of an upgrade, which is disappointing because I like a lot of other stuff that Dan Waters has done, but so far his Nightwing run has been less than stellar. We're 5 issues in, and I want to talk about it, but first I'll do a quick recap for what happened during Tom Taylor's run if you have not read that. Also, I did a whole video on the first year of Tom Taylor's run, which I'll have linked. You can go check that out. But we'll do a quick little recap just to get you caught up if you dropped the book like I did. My main complaint with Tom Taylor's run on Nightwing was the fact that Nightwing was an incompetent dumbass who did a whole lot of nothing. That was a huge problem with that book. At the beginning of Tom Taylor's run, we get introduced to Heartless in issue 79, who's this serial killer going around Bloodhaven ripping people's hearts out. Again, he started in issue 79, and then he's not defeated until issue 118, and he is constantly killing people the entire time. In issue 93, we get a page showing all these shelves full of hearts that he has collected from the citizens of Bloodhaven, and I did the math on it. It was something like 252 hearts, at least, because you couldn't even see all the shelves. There were so many. And again, that was issue 93. It doesn't get stopped till issue 118, so he's killing even more people. It just makes Nightwing look really bad. And the whole time you think maybe Nightwing was busy with something more important or something else. It's hard to think of anything more important than a guy that's just killing everyone in your city. But no, Nightwing was busy helping stop graffiti on an Alfred statue. He was having Taco Tuesday with some homeless kids at the homeless encampment. He was chilling with Wally West and the Titans. He wasn't really doing much of anything during all this. He was just happy-go-lucky Nightwing, just doing whatever, while the citizens of Bloodhaven are getting their hearts ripped out. And that's just one example, a big example, but one. There are other examples of how incompetent and stupid Tom Taylor's Nightwing was. In the very beginning, you get a new mayor, Melinda Zuko, who turns out to be Dick Grayson's half-sister. It was really stupid. It made no sense. She didn't need to be related to Dick in any way. Tom Taylor just did that for whatever reason. She's a terrible character, but she's a little shady at first. Dick goes to investigate, but remember, Dick's an idiot. So when he goes in there, he gets the shit kicked out of him by Melinda Zuko's wife and gets tied up and unmasked instantly. He didn't prepare or think of anything when he was breaking into her place. He just gets, her wife beats him up, he gets unmasked, and that's not the only person that unmasked Nightwing in this book. Tony Zuko finds out his secret identity. Heartless finds out his secret identity. Heartless's butler finds it out too. But to tie all that up in a nice bow, also, I forgot, Blockbuster found out his identity as well. But all of those people die at the end. Not Melinda, obviously, but everyone else. Blockbuster, Tony Zuko, Heartless's butler, they all die. So that way, no one knows Dick's secret identity. It's because Dick's an idiot. He's just a big, dumb idiot in this book. That's all he is. And at the end, Heartless just dies, and that's just how it ends because his heart gives out. He had needed a heart to support his cyborg body during the entire thing because he had all these enhancements, and he had taken Blockbuster's heart, and Blockbuster's heart died because Blockbuster had the gorilla heart, and yeah, so that's how it ended. Now we're on to Dan Waters' run. This new run starts out with the crime bosses of Bloodhaven meeting up to set up a treaty to be like, hey, we'll take this part of Bloodhaven, we'll do these crimes, you guys do this, everyone just take their own thing, and we won't have turf wars and all this blood among the streets. We can be civil about things. But then Nightwing crashes the party, starts fighting some of them, and then the entire building explodes because someone set this whole thing up to kill all of the crime bosses in Bloodhaven to set up chaos. We find out later that the reason this happened is because of this new company called Spheric Solutions. They are a weapons manufacturer, and they have a vested interest in causing chaos in Bloodhaven because they are backing Melinda Zuko, who's now Melinda Grayson Lynn because she doesn't want to go by Zuko, and Grayson's her dad, so she goes by Grayson. So whatever. She's Melinda Grayson Lynn. She's running for re-election as mayor in Bloodhaven. she can't be having a bunch of crime on the street, so she needs help. So she goes to Spheric Solutions and their CEO, Olivia Pierce. They make all these big weapons, and they're like, hey, we will militarize the police to help take care of these bad people in Bloodhaven, so that way you can take care of crime and you can focus on your re-election, and people will be happier because there'll be a safer Bloodhaven. Nightwing sees through all this, is instantly like, hey, they're behind this. They're the reason that all this chaos was caused, because this way they get to have their fingers in Bloodhaven and controlling things and get more power and money and etc. etc. We see behind the scenes that Spheric Solutions is run by some puppeteer guy. Actually, Olivia Pierce is just like the figurehead, and she's working with this guy who's this. We don't really know much about him. He looks really cool, though. We know that he's part of Cirque du Sen, who was a group of like villains that rounded up rich people and killed them before in a weird circus. We saw this in a flashback issue, which I actually enjoyed the flashback part of the issue. I thought it was pretty good, one of the better parts of this run so far, and the way Dexter Soy draws this flashback Batman looks awesome. I love it. It looks so good. But we see in the Cirque du Sen that Dick Grayson encountered Olivia Pierce when she was younger, and she was a part of this group, but they got away and never were to be heard from again. But now they're back, and they want Dick Grayson. They're messing with him, and they're getting their strings attached on him. We don't really know what exactly they want with Dick, but each issue we see that the puppeteer is kind of just like saying things about Dick and like talking about how he's trying to manipulate him. But we don't really know why or what's going on or what this guy's deal is. We saw that when Dick was robbing, he saw this guy. He's called the Zanny, or Zany, however you pronounce it. And we saw that not everyone can actually see this guy, but Dick was able to see him, and it kind of put him in a trance and messed him up. So that was interesting. The stuff with the Zany is interesting. It's the rest of the book that I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, with the corrupt cops being militarized, they're going around being worse than usual, because obviously Bloodhaven has the worst police force. Everyone's corrupt. You think Gotham's bad? That's the whole thing with Bloodhaven, was you think Gotham's bad, Bloodhaven's even worse. And all the cops in Bloodhaven are horrible, and now they do this whole thing called the Hilo Project, which is where the cops get jetpacks and lasers. They Boba Fett the cops. You got a bunch of Boba Fetts roaming around, you got a bunch of bad dudes roaming around Bloodhaven. And there's an incident that happens that sets off Nightwing, because Nightwing goes to all of these groups, all the gangs. You've got several of them. You got the Fly Boys, you got the Blockbuster gang, because Blockbuster's dead, Heartless killed him, but his gang's still around because they had power and they weren't going to give it up. You got the Clean Cut Crew, and you got the Teddies. These are all the gangs. They all lost their leaders, so they're all going crazy right now. And Nightwing goes up to him like, hey, you guys are being set up. I want to help you. He gives them this contact info so they can contact him whenever. And he's like, hey, just stop with the turf wars, stop with all that, and I won't bust you. So he essentially gives them the go-ahead to commit normal crimes, just don't fight each other, which is kind of weird. And again, makes Nightwing look incompetent. Be like, hey, do whatever crimes you want. Just don't have turf wars with each other. Just don't be fighting each other. It's like, that's kind of a weird thing for Nightwing to do or say, but that's what he does. Anyways, there's a point where he's talking to some members of the Teddy gang, and some cops shows up. The cops are there talking to Nightwing, and one of the Teddy gang members shoots at one of the cops and then gets nuked. I'm not even kidding. Like, they shoot him with a laser. It's hilarious overkill. Like, just this laser that just boom, just like, I can't remember what it was called. That one laser from Gears of War that you would like point and it would shoot from like a satellite. It looked kind of like that, how ginormous the laser was. I don't even know how the kid's body is still around. It should be vaporized. But the Teddy gang member gets killed, and Dick gets very upset about it, and it's a whole thing. Every single issue, he's like, I watched these cops kill this kid, and they did it in front of his brother, because right after this, we find out the gang member was 14 years old, and it was just kids. Nightwing didn't know that at the time until he unmasked them, and he finds out they're kids. But the thing is, I don't feel sympathy at all, because this kid shot at the cop. We know the cops in Bloodhaven are bad. We know they're corrupt. They'll do anything. But why would you make it justified? Have them shoot at the kid first. Have them, for no reason, murder the kid. But no, you gave him a reason to. This was justified. Why is this such bad writing? I don't understand. It's as simple as having the kid just chilling and having a cop be like, haha, you're part of the Teddy gang, and just shoot him with a laser. Instead, they have the kid shoot at the cop first with a pistol. What? It's justified. Now I don't feel bad. Now I'm like, yeah, the kid kind of deserved to get shot. He shot out a cop with his gun. Like, what are we talking about? And Nightwing's very upset about it the entire time. It's like, Nightwing has dealt with a lot. I don't think he would be as distraught about this whole situation. But also, this is the same Nightwing from Tom Taylor's run that we saw that when some homeless kid stole his wallet, he kind of had a mental breakdown, didn't know what to do. So this is kind of a... Also, he fought a guy that stole a rotisserie chicken and kind of had a mental breakdown. This Nightwing's very weak-willed and weak-minded. And I was hoping that we'd have a turnaround with Dan Watters, but sadly, it's still the incompetent dumbass from Tom Taylor's run. Now, there is one interesting thing going on here, but I know it's just going to be a fake out, but I wish that he'd stick to his guns. I wish that Dan Watters would have this keep going. So Melinda is very much keen on running for mayor again and actually winning, and she is doing whatever she can, and she's kind of going against Dick here because Dick is telling her all the things that's going on and what he's found out about Spheric, and he's like, hey, they're bad, you shouldn't be working with them, they're militarizing the most corrupt police force in the world, this is bad. And she's kind of just shoving Dick to the side and be like, hey, I don't really care about all that, I have an election to win, and I need to these people see that I'm putting an effort, the people of Bloodhaven, to see that I'm putting an effort to keep them safe, and so kind of screw you, I'll do whatever it needs to be done with Spheric, I'll do whatever deal with the devil I need to win re-election. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's making Melinda a bit more of a character, because in Tom Taylor's run, she was just a nothing. She was a nothing character. There's nothing to her other than she's Dick Grayson's sisters. That's it. Where in this, they're kind of making her kind of like a power-hungry type person, where she'll do anything to win, to be mayor again. It's like, oh, I kind of like that, but I think it's going to be a fake out, and it turns out she was actually in on it the whole time and knew about Spheric, and she's actually there to take them out, because I think they're not going to make her a bad person. But I would love it if they actually did make her a piece of shit. I would like that. I think that would be interesting. But another problem I have that I have talked just a little bit about is all of these gangs aren't really that bad, and I'm kind of annoying of bad guys not being bad. I don't like so many sympathetic bad guys. Like the Teddies, there's this whole part where Dick talks to the Teddies, and they like give him this speech where they're like, Nightwing, we're actually helping these kids, and Nightwing tells him, he's like, the Teddies are killers. He's like, yeah, sure, some kids go overboard, sometimes innocent people die because our gang kills them, but we're just boosting cars, and we're taking kids in, and we're helping them because Bloodhaven's let them down, and Nightwing's let them down, and all this other stuff. And it's just a bullshit speech because it's so dumb. It's talking about how it's like all these kids that have been let down by the system, and the Teddies are helping them. And he also tells Nightwing about how Nightwing's just another might makes right person, and Nightwing's not really anything helpful. He's just like someone else with money that's with bigger firepower that's might make right. It's the dumbest speech you've ever heard. It's like, no, Nightwing's fighting people that are killing people. What do you mean? The Teddies kill people. What is this speech? This doesn't make any sense. You're gang members that are literally killing people, and you're also getting kids killed, and it's like, this is insane. It's so stupid. Then you also have the Fly Boys, who it turns out they were all manipulated by some scientists, and they're not that bad. And it's like, where are the bad guys? Why is everyone actually sympathetic and good and just fell on hard times? This is annoying. Give me bad guys. I want actual bad gang. It turns out every gang in Bloodhaven is actually, misunderstood. That's what it turns out. Also, Dick, again, is wasting his money. Because remember, he became a billionaire in Tom Taylor's run because Alfred had Wayne Tech stock that got into the billions. And then when he died, he gave it all to Dick Grayson. And Dick wasted in a lot of weird ways that weren't very interesting. In Tom Taylor's run, he just set up a fund called the Haven in Bloodhaven. It's really stupid. And in this, he spends more money on a high-tech safe house for gangs. Again, nothing to actually help the citizens of Bloodhaven. When a heartless killer is murdering people, whatever. But gangs are getting shot by the police? Oh, no. I need to set up a safe house to protect these gang members. It's like, that's what you're spending your money on, dude? And again, it just makes him look incompetent because all these corrupt cops are running around doing whatever they want. These gang members are running around doing whatever they want. And then there's Nightwing in the middle doing nothing, crying about a kid who died because the kid was a dumbass. And that's what we got. Nightwing's just incompetent, and it makes me very annoyed. I want a good Nightwing again. I will give this book one more chance for the next arc. Once this arc's over, I'll try the next arc, see how it is. If it's still bad, then I'm done. Because Dexter Soy is amazing, and I do like the other stuff I've read from Dan Watters. I like the Doomsday one-shot he did was great. I enjoyed his Destro miniseries for the most part. It was the weaker of the G.I. Joe ones, other than Scarlet. Scarlet was terrible. But of the G.I. Joe books that we've gotten from Skybound, it was kind of weaker, but I still liked it. And I'm enjoying his Batman book right now, Dark Patterns. It's pretty good. but Nightwing is just, it's not there. I would not recommend picking it up right now. If you're someone that's kind of just come back and you're like, oh, maybe Nightwing's good again because Tom Taylor's gone, it's not. I wouldn't recommend picking it up. I would say if you're really, really interested, wait until the second arc and see how things go, because that's where I'm really going to judge this, to see maybe the first arc just wasn't great, maybe the second arc will be good. But who knows? We'll see. Anyways, if you've been reading this, please let me know in the comments below what do you think about what's going on currently in Nightwing. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all in the next one.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.